In this video, I'll show you how to connect the Altera CLI to Claude Code. Once that's done, you can tell Claude what you need: bulk updates, exports, category assignments, and it will handle it for you. Let's get started. Here we have a demo store that already has Altera installed. The first thing we need to do is set up the CLI. So what we'll do is we'll go over to Settings, click on API Keys, and here we'll generate an API key for the CLI to use. First, we need to put in an email address. This email address isn't used for marketing, but just if there's any unexpected issues with the API, we want to have someone that we can contact. Next, we'll create an API key. At this point, we have different permissions for the API keys. If you want one API key that's read-only, you can go ahead and do that. For our demo, we'll select everything, but just keep in mind that you do have the option here to give fine-grained access controls to these API keys. We'll go ahead and save that. Once we save that, we'll see a command here that we can use to set up the CLI with the store. So we'll copy that command and we'll go over to Visual Studio where we have a terminal open, and we'll paste that in. This downloads the CLI command if it's not already present, and now we need to enter in our API key. So to do that, we just copy the API key here, paste it, press enter, and the store is added. Next step is to open up Claude Code, so we'll go ahead and do that. We're in a new directory here, so what we can do is use the init command to tell Claude to make some basic rules for itself in the Claude MD file. We'll give it a few things here. We'll say this is used for managing Shopify data with npx Altera. Look at the command for options. And we'll do that. Now, Claude will use the npx Altera command, which includes some extra prompts for LLMs, and create guidelines in the Claude MD file, which we can update afterwards. We'll just give that a second to process. Okay, now Claude's asking if it can make these changes, so we'll allow changes, and we have a Claude MD file here that we can look at. So it seems like it's pulled out some reference for the different commands, and you can go through and modify this if we need to. One thing I want to highlight is this Altera ref command, which gives you reference that Claude can look up, so we can see not only filters and fields for imports and exports, but also data from the store, including metafield definitions, locations, etc. Okay, so going back to Claude now, the Claude MD file is created, so we're ready to go. We can say things like, what locations do I have? And Claude can pull back that information from the Altera CLI command and give that to us. So we have 3 locations on this store. So at this point we have Claude set up, it's connected to the store, and it can use the npx Altera command. We'll just do a quick example now where we'll use Claude to update the SEO data for our collection. So all we have to do is say, rewrite the SEO descriptions for our collections. And that should be it. We can watch Claude here. It will look through, find the correct reference data. Sometimes it takes a few tries just to get the exact fields that it needs, but it's pulling out the reference here, identifies that these are meta fields, and now we'll just give it a few seconds as it exports both of these. One thing, while it's creating these exports, we can also view those in the app. So if we go over to the Altera app, and we see that we have an export of the smart collections just now, and we can also download that output ourselves if we want to, and we'll see the file here in the Altera Matrixify format with our meta fields here at the end. Let's go back to Claude now. And we see here that there's 5 collections with no SEO descriptions. And now Claude is creating a CSV file for us. So for example, our smart collections, we can see here that it's written a description here for this. Claude's asking if we're ready to import. We'll say, let's just import the smart collection. And now if we go over to products, collections, where this is our smart collection. So I don't think the import's completed yet. Now if we look, there it is. Now we have the data from the import that's done. If we wanted to update the manual collections, we would just ask it the manual ones too. And then Claude would use this CSV file that it's created to import those as well. So that's all there is to it. It's pretty quick to set up the Altera CLI with Claude Code, and then once you have that set up and generate a Claude MD file, you can really unlock all your store data using it with Claude Code, and all the changes that you make are stored in these CSV files in the Altera Matrixify format, so you have a record of what's been changed and you can roll it back as necessary. You can find Altera on the Shopify App Store, and if you have any other questions, just reach out. Thanks for watching.